At this point of our honeymoon, we're definitely realizing why people decide to honeymoon at like the beach or something where you can just go and chill instead of going on like a trip like us, where you're like always on the move. That said, I'm not complaining because today was such a fun day. We woke up bright and early to catch a tour bus to do a D-Day tour. Of course, we had to stop for breakfast first. We just ran into a grocery store and grabbed like coffees and croissants. We're also gonna be gone all day, so we grabbed a few snacks for the bus. I am a motion sickness girly, so I do bring ginger chews everywhere I go. First stop was Omaha Beach, and I love doing tours like this with a tour guide because I feel like it just really helps you get the most out of the experience. Our tour guide was so knowledgeable, and we seriously learned so much. Like otherwise we would have just like pulled up to all these beaches and been like, cool, a beach. And there's so much cool history to it that like, yeah, like you kind of learn in school a little bit, but we just would have missed out on a lot if we didn't have the tour guide. And we went to the huge cemetery, and we were actually there on July 4th, which is obviously an American holiday, so you wouldn't think that they would be celebrating it there, but they handed out flowers for everyone to put on a grave, which I thought was cool. And also tour some of the bomb shelters, which is just insane to be inside of those, and oh, it's just like eerie. It's just crazy that something so horrific happened in such a beautiful place. Like the landscape here is insane. Stopped for some snacks before heading to the Airborne Museum. This museum has a ton of cool artifacts that are like real items from the war. I loved looking through all of it. I think stuff like that is so cool to see. This museum is super interactive, so we had a ton of fun just like messing around with the little interactive parts. And tell me why my picture looks so much more realistic than Vincent's does. If it was just made for me, I don't know. Great grandpa was also a pilot in World War II, so super cool to see all of the like pilot artifacts that they have in here. Then we hopped back on the bus for our next stop, which was Utah Beach. Crazy too pulling up to these beaches because we're sitting there like learning all the terrible history about it, and then you look in the water and someone's just like kayaking, which obviously people can kayak there, like there's not an issue with that. It's just like a weird juxtaposition. During the war, I guess a ton of churches were turned into hospitals, so we visited one that was utilized for that, and this one specifically, a bomb went through the ceiling, landed on the floor, and just straight up didn't go off, which is just an insane miracle. The tour ended and the bus dropped us back off, so we walked around town for a bit and tried to find a restaurant to have dinner at. So we're by the ocean. I wanted to order fish, so I ordered fish and chips, and then I asked them for vinegar, and for some reason they brought out olive oil. So I don't know if it's not like a common thing to eat vinegar with your fish and chips here, but it's okay. I ate it with ketchup and it was great. Then it started torrential downpouring, like our plates were covered in water because the ceiling was leaking. Once there was finally a break in the rain, we tried to bolt home, but of course we had to stop for a sweet treat first, which kind of screwed us because then it started pouring again. We were completely drenched by the time we got back to our hotel, so we just threw our pajamas on and watched some YouTube and went to bed.